All right, picture this. You're texting someone back and you catch yourself typing paragraph number 4, explaining why you can't make it to their thing, and suddenly you stop. You delete all of it. You just type, "Can't make it, sorry," and hit send. And then your phone doesn't buzz for exactly 13 minutes. You know they saw it. You know they're sitting there, stewing, trying to figure out what kind of black magic you just pulled. Welcome to the exact moment controlling people realize their remote control just ran out of batteries. Yeah, we're going there today. And trust me, what I'm about to show you, you're gonna start seeing this stuff everywhere. Your group chat, your family dinners, that one coworker who always just has a quick question. Stick around because we're about to decode the absolute circus that happens when you stop playing the explanation game. And I'm telling you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing controlling people do when you stop explaining yourself, they go completely silent. But not like normal silent. Not like, "Oh, I'm busy" silent. I'm talking about weaponized silence. Olympic-level gold medal silence. The kind of silence where you can practically hear them not texting you back. Here's what's actually happening in their brain. They're used to your explanations being this whole buffet of information they can pick apart. You know what I mean. You say, "I can't come because I have a headache, and also I've been really tired lately, and my cat might be sick," and they're like a lawyer in a courtroom going, "Aha! But you were on Instagram 2 hours ago, so you can't be that tired." But when you just say, "No, I can't," no dessert bar, no appetizers, no nothing. They're sitting there like a detective with no clues, and they are big mad about it. CarlJung, yeah, the psychology guy, talked about something called the shadow. Basically, it's all the parts of ourselves we don't want to look at. And controlling people, their shadow is terrified of not being in control. When you stop explaining, you're basically holding up a mirror to that shadow, and they do not like what they see. So they go silent, hoping you'll panic and fill the void with explanations. It's like a staring contest, except instead of eyes, it's text messages. You know what the funniest part is? After about 3 days of this silence, they'll randomly text you something completely unrelated. Like, "Did you see it's supposed to rain on Thursday?" And you're supposed to be like, "OMG, you're talking to me again. Let me explain everything from last week." Nah, just reply, "Yeah, wild weather," and watch what happens next. Spoiler alert, they don't know what to do with that either. The silence is them trying to create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and they're betting you do too. But here's the thing, once you get comfortable with silence, it's actually kind of peaceful. It's like finally turning off a TV that's been playing infomercials in the background for 5 years. All right, so when the silent treatment doesn't work, controlling people move to plan B. Welcome to Guilt Trip Travel Agency, where the flights are always emotional and the baggage is never checked. Suddenly, you're hearing things like, "I guess I'm just not important to you anymore. You've really changed. I'm just trying to understand why you're being so distant." Or my personal favorite, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed." That last one, that's the nuclear option. That's them trying to transform into your mom, your teacher, and your conscience all at once. Here's what they're doing. They're trying to make you responsible for their feelings. It's like if someone showed up at your house, knocked over your lamp, and then was like, "Why would you make me do that?" But here's the thing about guilt. Real guilt is what you feel when you actually did something wrong. What they're serving you, that's manufactured guilt. That's guilt with artificial flavors and preservatives. Jung would call this projection. They're uncomfortable with the fact that they can't control you anymore, so they project that discomfort onto you and try to make it your problem. It's like emotional hot potato. The guilt trip usually comes in 3 waves. Wave 1, I'm hurt, testing the waters. Wave 2, You hurt me. Escalation. Wave 3. You're a bad person for hurting me. Full nuclear. And if you've been explaining yourself for years with this person, you probably know this routine by heart. You can probably predict what they're gonna say before they say it. But here's the magic. When you stop explaining, you also stop defending. And when you stop defending, the guilt trips just kind of flop. They're like, I'm so hurt that you... And you're like, I hear that you're hurt. And they're like, but you should. And you're like, I understand you feel that way. No explanation, no defense. No, but actually the reason I did that was because just acknowledgement and nothing else. It's like watching someone try to start a fire with wet matches. They're striking and nothing's catching, and they're getting more and more frustrated. The guilt trip only works if you get on the bus. If you just stand there at the bus stop and wave as it drives by. They're on that trip alone, and it's not nearly as fun. Okay, so silent treatment failed. Guilt trip failed. Now comes my favorite phase, the interrogation. This is where they turn into a detective, a therapist, and a prosecutor all rolled into one. It's like Law and Order, but make it toxic. You start getting questions like, so who have you been hanging out with lately? Did someone tell you to act like this? Are you seeing a therapist or something? Because you're acting weird. Is this because of that book you read? Yes, Brenda, it's because of a book. I read one book and my entire personality changed. You cracked the case. Here's what's really happening. They're trying to find the source of your new boundary-having, non-explaining behavior. Because in their mind, the old you would never. So someone must have corrupted you. It's like when a computer gets a virus and starts acting different, so you try to figure out what sketchy website caused it. Except you're not a computer, and having boundaries isn't a virus. Jung talked about something called individuation. Basically, it's the process of becoming your own person, separate from what everyone else wants you to be. And controlling people hate individuation. They liked you better as an extension of themselves. So they're investigating because they want to find out how to reverse the process. They want the old you back, the one who gave them 3-paragraph explanations they could debate for hours. The questions come fast. Why are you being so secretive? What changed? Why won't you just talk to me? And here's the kicker. If you do engage with these questions, if you try to explain, they'll just use your answers as ammunition. You'll say, I'm just trying to set healthier boundaries, and they'll say, see, someone is putting ideas in your head. Who told you that you need boundaries with me? It's a trap. It's literally a trap. The only winning move is not to play. Just keep your responses simple. Just making some changes. Nothing specific, just growing. I'm good, thanks for asking. Short, sweet, no explanatory essay attached, and watch them absolutely short-circuit trying to figure out how to respond to that. Because here's the truth, they don't actually want answers to those questions. They want the conversation. They want the back and forth. They want the drama of it all. The actual answers? Irrelevant. So when you don't give them the conversation, it's like showing up to a tennis match and refusing to pick up the racket. They're on the other side of the net, serving ball after ball, and you're just sitting there drinking lemonade. All right, this next one is wild, and if you've experienced it, drop a comment because you're about to feel so seen right now. When a controlling person can't get through to you directly, they send in the flying monkeys. No, not actual monkeys, although that would be kind of amazing. I'm talking about mutual friends, family members, that one aunt who just wants everyone to get along. Basically, people they recruit to do their emotional dirty work. You'll be minding your business, and suddenly your cousin texts you, "Hey, I heard you and Sarah are fighting. She's really upset, you know. Maybe you should reach out." Or your mutual friend slides into your DMs. "I don't want to get in the middle, but..." Pause. If someone says, I don't want to get in the middle, but they are already in the middle. They're not just in the middle. They've set up a tent there. They're having a picnic in the middle. Here's what's happening. The controlling person is going around to everyone you both know, giving them their version of events. And in their version, you're the villain. You changed, you're being cold, you won't communicate. They leave out the part where you set a boundary and they lost their minds about it. So now you've got all these people coming to you like messengers in a medieval kingdom, being like, My lord, the other party requests your presence for a discussion about thine behavior. Jung called this kind of thing collective unconscious dynamics. Basically, groups of people can get swept up in narratives without even realizing it. The controlling person is good at crafting a story where they're the victim, and people naturally want to help victims. But here's the thing about flying monkeys. Most of them mean well. They're not bad people, they just don't have the full story, and they're being manipulated too. So how do you handle it? Simple. You don't explain to them either. I know. You want to defend yourself. You want to tell them your side. You want to explain that actually, you're not the bad guy here. But here's the truth. Anyone who's willing to get involved in your relationship without talking to you first, they've already chosen a side. Your explanation isn't going to change their mind because they're operating on emotion, not facts. So you just say something like, I appreciate your concern, but this is between me and them. That's not really how it happened, but I'm not going to get into it. Thanks for thinking of me, but I'm handling it. And then you change the subject or end the conversation. No 3-paragraph defense, no detailed timeline of events. No, let me tell you what actually happened. Just a polite boundary and move on. The flying monkeys will report back that you wouldn't engage or you were being stubborn, and the controlling person will be even more frustrated because their plan didn't work. And honestly, that's kind of hilarious. Like, they went through all that effort, recruited a whole team, crafted a narrative, sent out the troops, and you just said, Nah, I'm good, and went about your day. That's the power of not explaining. You're not playing the game anymore, so their strategies just bounce off you like rubber bullets. Okay, so we've gone through silence, guilt trips, interrogations, and flying monkeys. Nothing's working. You're still not explaining yourself. You're still holding your boundary. So now the controlling person pulls out what looks like a white flag. The fake apology. It usually sounds like, I'm sorry you felt hurt by what I said. I apologize if I came across the wrong way. I'm sorry, but you have to understand. Wrong. That's not an apology. That's an apology-shaped object. A real apology has 3 parts. Acknowledgement of what they did wrong, understanding of how it affected you, commitment to change. What they're giving you has none of those things. I'm sorry you felt hurt equals I'm sorry you're so sensitive. I'm sorry if I came across wrong equals I'm sorry you misunderstood me. I'm sorry but equals I'm not actually sorry. Here comes the justification. Carl Jung talked about something called the persona, the mask we show to the world. The fake apology is the controlling person putting on their reasonable person mask, hoping it'll get you to drop your guard so things can go back to normal. Normal meaning them in control, you explaining everything. Here's how you can tell it's a fake apology. After they say it, they immediately expect everything to go back to how it was before. They're like, okay, I said sorry. Now you can come to my thing this weekend, right? A real apology comes with space. It comes with, I understand if you need time, or I know I broke your trust and I need to earn it back. A fake apology comes with expectations. It's transactional. I gave you an apology, now you owe me forgiveness and a return to status quo. So what do you do when you get the fake apology? You can acknowledge it without accepting it. I appreciate you saying that. That's it. No, it's okay, because it's not. No, I forgive you, not yet. No detailed explanation of why you're not ready to move forward. Just acknowledgement. And then you keep your boundary in place. If they want to prove they're actually sorry, they'll show it through changed behavior over time. If it was a fake apology, they'll get mad that you didn't immediately give them what they wanted. Watch what happens next. It's very revealing. Usually the mask slips real fast. You'll get, "Wow, I apologized and it's still not enough for you. I'm trying here and you're not meeting me halfway. I guess nothing I do will ever be good enough." And there it is, the real motivation behind the apology. It wasn't about making amends. It was about ending your resistance. When you stop explaining, you also stop accepting fake apologies as currency. And that drives controlling people wild because they're used to sorry being a magic word that resets everything. Not anymore, though. All right, we're getting into the heavy stuff now. Stay with me. When all else fails, and I mean when everything has failed, some controlling people will escalate. This is the "if I can't control you, I'll scare you" phase. It might look like suddenly showing up at places they know you'll be making threats, even harmless ones like "you're going to regret this," spreading rumors or lies about you, trying to sabotage your job, relationships, or reputation. Playing the victim so hard that everyone believes you're the abuser. And listen, I'm going to be real with you for a second. If you're experiencing this level of escalation, this is no longer just about not explaining yourself. This is about safety. Jung talked about the shadow we mentioned earlier, and sometimes when people refuse to look at their shadow, it takes over. They become the thing they've been repressing: chaos, aggression, desperation. If someone is escalating to threats, stalking, or reputation destruction, you need to document everything. Screenshots, recordings where legal, witness statements. Tell people you trust what's happening. Consider legal options if necessary. Keep your boundaries firm, no matter what. Because here's what they're counting on. They're counting on the escalation scaring you back into compliance. They're betting that you'll think, "This is too much drama, I'll just go back to explaining everything and keeping the peace." Don't. I know it's hard. I know it's scary. I know you're probably thinking, "Is this really worth it?" But here's the thing. When a controlling person escalates, they're showing you who they really are. They're showing you what they were always capable of, but you didn't see it before because you were too busy explaining yourself and trying to keep them happy. The escalation is the death throes of their control over you. It's the final boss battle. It's them throwing everything they have at the wall to see what sticks. And if you hold firm, if you keep your boundaries, if you refuse to engage, it ends. Not always quickly, not always cleanly, but it ends. Because at the end of the day, controlling people need supply. They need someone to control. If you're not giving them that anymore, they'll eventually move on to someone who will. And that's sad for that next person, but it's not your responsibility to stay in a controlling relationship just to prevent them from finding someone else. Your responsibility is to yourself. Okay, we've been through the dark stuff. Now, let me tell you what actually happens when you consistently refuse to explain yourself to controlling people. Ready? Your life gets so much better. I'm not even exaggerating. Here's what starts to happen. First, you get time back. All those hours you spent crafting the perfect explanation, defending your choices, managing their emotions, you get that back. That's time for hobbies, for people who actually respect you, for just existing peacefully. Second, you get energy back. Dealing with controlling people is exhausting. It's like running a marathon every single day. When you stop engaging, it's like you've been carrying a backpack full of rocks and you finally get to put it down. Third, you remember who you are. Because when you're constantly explaining yourself, you're constantly living in reaction to someone else's expectations. You forget what you want, what you value, what you enjoy. When you stop explaining, you start discovering yourself again. It's wild. You'll be like, oh, I actually don't like that thing I've been pretending to like for 3 years. Interesting. Fourth, and this is the big one, your real relationships get stronger. Because the people who actually love and respect you, they don't need 3-paragraph explanations. You say, I can't make it tonight, and they say, no worries, next time. And that's it. No interrogation, no guilt trip, no silent treatment, just acceptance. And the first time you experience that after dealing with a controlling person, it's like, wait, it can be this easy? Yes, it can. Jung talked about individuation being the goal of psychological development, becoming a whole person, integrated, authentic. And you can't do that while you're constantly contorting yourself to fit someone else's control. When you stop explaining, you start individuating. You start becoming you, not the version of you that someone else needs you to be. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. The transition period, it's uncomfortable. You'll feel guilty even though you shouldn't. You'll worry you're being too harsh even though you're not. You'll second-guess yourself constantly. That's normal. That's your brain trying to go back to the familiar pattern because familiar feels safe, even if familiar is actually toxic. But push through it. Keep those boundaries. Keep not explaining. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you're free. You're not walking on eggshells. You're not crafting defensive texts in your head. You're not bracing yourself for the next guilt trip. You're just living. And that is what controlling people do when you stop explaining. They reveal themselves, they escalate, they try everything in their playbook, and then they fade into the background of your life while you step into the foreground of your own story. All right, friends, we covered a lot today. Silent treatments, guilt trips, interrogations, flying monkeys, fake apologies, escalation, and finally, freedom. If you've experienced any of this, drop a comment below. Let's build a community of people who said nah to over-explaining and took their power back. And if you're still in the thick of it, still dealing with a controlling person, here's your permission slip. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life on your terms. You really don't. Hit that like button if this resonated with you. Subscribe if you want more real talk about psychology, relationships, and breaking free from toxic patterns. And remember, the less you explain, the more you live. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong out there.